Hi everyone, my name is Mustafa. Welcome to today's edition of Migrating MySQL data to Cloud SQL using Database Migration Service. For today, we are exploring migrating on-premise MySQL using a continuous database migration service job. An overview of the lab. Database Migration Service provides option for one-time and continuous job to migrate data to Cloud SQL using different connectivity options, including IP allowlists, VPC peering, and reverse SSH tunnels. So for today in this lab, we would migrate an on-premise MySQL database that is running on a virtual machine to Cloud SQL for MySQL using a continuous database migration service job and VPC peering for connectivity. After we've done creating and running the migration job, we would also confirm that the initial copy of our database has been successfully migrated to our Cloud SQL for MySQL instance. Then we can now explore how continuous migration jobs apply data updates from our source database to our Cloud SQL instance. So after we also conclude the migration job, we will now promote the Cloud SQL instance to a standalone database for reading and writing data. So as usual, we'll start our lab. I'm not a robot. Just going to go over this checklist. And after our lab in an incognito window, make sure you copy the password. Then I understand this. So here we are. So then I'll agree to the terms and service, agree and continue. After that, here is my dashboard. Here is my lab. So for the first thing, we'd go to the Cloud Shell. Then we have to activate our Cloud Shell. So we'd copy this command. So activate our Cloud Shell. On the top right corner, click on Activate Cloud Shell. It would then click on Continue. It's provisioning our Cloud Shell machine. And after that, it would connect to our Cloud Shell instance. So from there, we'll paste the authorization code. And then I'm going to authorize this. Then I'll also copy the Gcloud config list project so I can show my project ID. That's my project ID. So we are good. So the next thing we want to see is we want to make sure that the database migration API is enabled. So I'm just going to paste it here and see if my database migration API is enabled. So under this one, you can see the type is API. Click on it. Then enable this API. After enabling the API, I'm also going to enable my service networking API. Just copy this here, then paste it here also. So you can see the type also API. Click on it. Then you can enable it from here. So I've enabled both the database migration API and the service networking API. So that's done. So I want to view the connection information for my SQL source instance. So it has been pre-configured for us on our compute engine, that's on our virtual machine. So when I take a look at my virtual machine, you can see I have this MySQL instance already on my virtual machine, and this is the internal IP address. So I just copy it and save it somewhere here. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a connection profile for my MySQL source instance, and this will be the name of my connection profile. So I can copy it here. Then I'll go to my navigation menu, go to database migration by clicking on more products. Here is my database migration under databases. Click on that. So when you click on this, you have your connection profile. Here's the connection profile. Then you create a profile. This is the database engine, and we have the MySQL here. For the connection profile, I'll copy the name. I'm going to leave this profile ID as the default. For the IP address, it will be the IP address that I copied, the one I copied before. For the port, this is this. So the username is admin and the password is change me. So under this username, I'll just press here. Under this password, let me just say change me. You can make sure that it's what it's required that I'm using. So change me. You can easily just copy it out. So for the host IP address, I copy this, paste it here, and after that, the region, I'd select US East 1. So under the region, I'm just going to choose US East 1. I'm going to leave this as none, then create the connection profile. So it's creating my connection profile. And you can see we have it here. So I can check the profile and see if I've done that. So you can see check complete. For task 3, I have to create and start a continuous migration job. And I'll copy the migration job name here. So under my database, then migration jobs, then I want to create a new migration job. Then this is the name I'm going to use. I have my name here. Under this one, I'm going to choose MySQL, just as specified here. For the region, I'll choose US East 1. So I have my US East 1 here. For the migration type, you're choosing continuous because it's a continuous job. So you can go over this and see that it's as expected. Then click on save and continue. So then for the connection profile, this is our source connection profile, the one we created in the previous step. Then after that, you click on continue also, save and continue. And the next thing is to set our destination configuration. So this is our destination instance ID. We place this with our specified destination instance ID. That's from MySQL to the Cloud SQL. So then the root password is super secret. I'm going to replace that. For the Cloud SQL database version, we want a 5.7 for Cloud SQL for MySQL version. Then our zone should also be US East 1. So you can click on show zones here, and under this US East 1C, so you can see it here. So I'm going to take the private and public IP. Then I would also allocate and connect, setting it to use an automatically allocated IP range. So it may take a while for it to allocate and connect. Just going to wait a bit and continue. So under the machine type, we have the standard. We have to choose this 1 vCPU and 3.75 gigabytes as specified by the lab. So you have it an SSD and just 10 gigabytes. We have it here, and we'd wait for it to set this up. So when this is set up, we can now go to the next step. So I'll fast forward it and see at the end. It's allocated our IP address, and we can now create and continue. So then create destination and continue. So for connectivity method, we are using a VPC peering as said in the intro to the lab. Then our destination must be configured successfully before we can finish up the connectivity method. So I'll wait for our destination to also get configured successfully. I'll fast forward it and see you at the end. Yes, so it has configured our destination for us as expected. Then I can click on continue, then configure and continue. Then it will define the connectivity method for us, and after that we can test the job to be sure that this is actually what we want to do. Testing the job. And after I've tested the job successfully, then I can create and start my job by clicking on create and start. So it's going to create and start the job as expected. So you can see, so you can follow the status here. The status has to change to running before it is successful. So the status will change as it progresses. I'd fast forward it and see at the end. Hi, so you can see it's now in running, which shows that it has started and it's now running. So it took just like maybe 4 to 5 minutes to get to this stage, and you can see all this. So it went over all these various statuses: not started, to starting, to running full dump, to running CDC in progress. And you can see it's on running CDC in progress, which shows it has gotten to its final destination. And if I check the status of this tax, you can see that it's correct. So for tax 5, we want to confirm that the data in the Cloud SQL. We want to confirm that the data is in the Cloud SQL for MySQL. So what we can do is we'll go to our MySQL. So it is here already. So you can just click on this under SQL, and this is our cluster. Click on it here, and under our databases, we can see this is the customer data, this is the sales data, which shows that our data are already inside our MySQL database on Cloud SQL, which is what we want to do. So the next thing we want to do is we want to connect to the MySQL instance. And to connect to the MySQL instance, you can just go to the overview. After going to the overview, you can click on this open in Cloud Shell. So it's not going to open until I reconnect my Cloud Shell. So I'm just going to reconnect my Cloud Shell. After reconnecting my Cloud Shell, then I can say open in Cloud Shell. You can see that it automatically populates a command on my Cloud Shell. Then I click enter. So it's going to allowlists my IP for the incoming connection. Just going to wait till that is done. So after that, this is my password, the password we set before, super secret. So after this is done, I'll paste the password in there. So enter the password, then enter. And here we are inside our MySQL database on Cloud SQL. So let's review the data in our Cloud SQL instance, in our Cloud SQL for MySQL instance. So let's use the database. This is the database I want to use, the customer data. That's where the information are in. So, and you can see the database has changed. I'm now inside the customer data database in this instance. So let's see. Let's just, what this command is doing is we are going to count the total amount of customers data inside. So you can see we have 5,030 customers data. So let's see the last 10 data that are here. So you can order by last name, limit by 10. So we want to check the first 10 data in ascending order of their last name. Click enter. So when you see, you can see the last name. Most of all, this one is starting from A. So in descending order rather. In ascending order of their last name. So the next thing we want to do is, let's see if we've completed this. Completed it. I can decide to just exit my Cloud Shell by using this command, and I am out. So for task 6, we want to test the continuous migration of data from the source to the destination. And the only way we can test that is by adding data to the source. So we'll add data to the source and we'll see if that data reflects in the destination. Don't forget that our source is it's on our virtual machine. So we have to go to compute engine and our virtual machine before we can enter into our source. This is just our destination. So So to enter into our source, this is the virtual machine instance that hosts our MySQL version. So then I can SSH into this. So after SSH, it will transfer the SSH key and to establish connection to my server. So after that, let me just copy this. So this is just to connect to the MySQL interactive console. So because I already have MySQL installed on this already, so when I paste this here, it's going to prompt me to enter password, and this is the password we use. Then change me, click enter, and now you can see I'm also into my MySQL database. But this MySQL database, it's on the compute engine, it's on the virtual machine, and it's our source. So let me enter into the previous database, which is our customer data, and we can first confirm the amount of data in here. Let me confirm the amount of data. You can see it's 5030, just like the one in the destination. So I'm going to add 2 more data. So these are just like the columns, and these are the values. This is the first value to this place, and this is the second the value details that I'm adding. The first one is from here to here, and the second one is from here to here. So after I run this command, invariably it should I've populated 2 additional data, and now make the total rows in this code, in this table, in this database to be 5032. So let's confirm that. So after that, we'll run the previous command once again. This is our previous command. We run it again, and now you can see that we have 5032 rows or data in this thing. So let's see the last 10 values so that we'll know if it's really changed. And you can see that we have 2 new ones. We have this ablorem and abrisum in there now. Before it was acomson ultra. So let's exit this. Let's exit our interaction. You can also exit the SSH version by exiting this part. So now we are back on our Google Cloud shell and dashboard. So the next task is to connect to the Cloud SQL for MySQL instance. So let's go back to our destination and see what's happening there. If we can now see the new information that we've added. You know, it is a continuous migration job. So immediately we added the data there, it's supposed to automatically fix it, put it in the next thing I'm going to do is go back to my SQL. Here on my SQL, click on my cluster, and under overview would also try to connect to our cloud shell once again. So when you connect, it's automatically populate this command. You can click on enter. So it's going to allow lists. Then after that, we'll paste our password. Our password is still super secret for the destination. For the source, it was changed. For the destination, it was super secret. So let's wait for it to allow list our connection. So under my password, I paste my password, then I click on enter. So here we are again on our destination, which is our MySQL on Cloud SQL. So let's see if the changes have been applied. You know, the previous time we checked this, it was 5030, but we've made changes to the source. So let's see if it's on the destination. I'm going to copy this. Let's have a count of this, and you can see it's now 5032, which shows that the additional changes are reflected. So I can paste this also to examine data, and we can see it's still the same thing. It has changed from ablorem to abrissus, so that's fine. Then let's exit this part. And you can exit once again if you want to do that. But we've exited our database. So let's check our progress and see if we've done that. So we've also completed this. The next thing we want to do is we want to promote the Cloud SQL to a standalone instance for reading and writing. So before we can promote that, we have to go to the database migration job and promote the job. So when we promote the job, it's now become a standalone instance for reading and writing data. So to do that, we go to our database migration. Under databases, this is the migration jobs. So here's the migration job that we set here. Just going to click into it. After you've clicked into it, then you can now decide to promote the job. So when you click on promote, so you promote disconnect the source from the destination and promote the destination to a writable instance. So it is recommended to stop write to the sources and to wait until the replication delay is at 0 before initializing or initiating a promote. But we are good at the moment because all the data that we've added to the source has replicated to the destination. So now let's promote it. So it's now a standalone instance and it's now writing. And that's all for, I think that's all for this lab. Let's check if we've completed this. So it's still promoting, that's why it has not checked. Still promoting. Can go to this. So the promote is in progress. So let's wait till the promotion is done. And when our promotion is done, we can now see that our status will be complete. So it will then reflect. Yeah, it just took a while for it to reflect that it's done. And when you check your progress here also, you also have your full mark. And now we have 100/100. So that's all for this lab. And just an high level overview of what we've done is that the first task, we get the connectivity information for the MySQL source instance. Then we create a connection profile for the MySQL source instance. After that, we now did a migration job, a continuous migration job. Then we reviewed the information of the continuous migration job. Then we now confirm that the data has been saved to the destination. And after that, we now tested the migration job by adding data to the source, and we noticed that it reflected in the destination. And for the final task, we promoted the Cloud SQL job to a standalone instance for reading and writing data. And some of the tasks in this lab takes a whole lot of time to get completed, and I fast forward some of them along the line. But just make sure you follow the instruction as expected, and you would end up having a complete lab, 100/100. Thanks very much for your time. If you enjoyed this lab, comment in the comment section, like this lab, and share with your loved ones. And can't wait to see you in the next lab. Make sure you also subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.